What's up, everyone? My name is Elijah, and today I'm going to take you through a fully built cybersecurity home lab that I pretty much designed from scratch. This lab simulates real-world attacks and defense scenarios between two teams, as you can see, cyber.org versus oblivion.org. These are some names I just came up with. Cyber, I guess, being the attackers since they're in red, and oblivion being the defenders. My goal was to build a functional environment where I could practice penetration testing, network security, and system administration. Obviously, some networking was played into this, as you can see. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how I built the lab, the technologies I used, my troubleshooting process, and how everything actually works together. Because anyone could say they built this, but I could actually show you guys that this is fully functionally working. And it's alive, and it's well, and it's here. But not for real. This is all air gapped. This is all done on VMware workstation. Whoa, as you can see, a lot of stuff. But yeah, so let's get into it. So what we have here, one random afternoon, I was just thinking to myself, what home lab project can I do? Like, what can I do to get my hands on something and actually say I built this from scratch? So I hopped into VMware. I know we have the host only VM networks, so I got an idea. I was like, what if I make a core router and have two different networks talk to each other? One being team 1, the other one being team 2. That was my first initial thought. So as you can see, that thought expanded to what we have here. So this is team 1. So I started off by building building the core first. At first, I was using Zebra router, and I wasn't really using my brain, so I didn't know what protocol to use as far as a routing protocol. I went with OSPF, which is short for Open Shortest Path First, I believe. So I started off by building the core, foundation, everything that connects everything. So I tried my absolute hardest. Hold on, this is bothering me, so let's at least get just make it look at least somewhat neat, good enough. So I started off by building the core. And I started off by giving the core. I started with team 1, so I wanted to build team 1's infrastructure first. So that's what we have here. So this network is 192.168.32. It's a class C subnet. So it's 255.255.255.0, and the core is .254, and team 1's router is .1. So we can actually hop into VMware here and go on the core router, hit a show run. These are all my routes that I had to use. We'll explain those later. Now this is ENS33, which is that 192.168.32.0/24 that you saw, that 254 right there. Now this IP OSPF area 0, I didn't have that at first, and that's what broke everything. I didn't realize that I needed the actual area number on the actual interface itself instead of just in the config, because I had it down here under router OSPF. I had it with the OSPF router ID, and I did not know I had to actually put it on the interface itself. So that's honestly what helps me talk, like that's what connects all the networks together basically. So that's that 192.168.32.254. And as you can see on the other end of that is .1, which is team 1's top router. Boom. So now we have that. We can actually test connectivity here. So 192.168.32.1. I'm pinging. So basically what I did there, I am testing the conductivity between here and here. Good. most of the time, if you could ping one way, you could ping the other way. But let's just show you guys that I can ping the other way. So these are all the VM names right here. So team 1 router to core. We hop on here, team 1. We can hit a show run here too. Not the same config. We'll get to that. Honestly, I'm thinking now these routes here, I don't know. Anyways, like I don't think they're needed, but anyways, 192. That's 291. That's 291 again. That's 192, 168, 254. So boom, we have connectivity from here to here, from here to here. Boom, that's good, solid. One of the easiest things to set up. All you have to do is make sure you're on the VMnet, the same VMnet, and we can actually show the VMnet settings right here. So we go to core router right here, go to VM settings. These are all the interfaces on that VM. Now interface 3, we're gonna get to that later. That was a later thought that I just added on in the middle of all this. So VMnet 0, we could actually show you the VMnet configs over here. So VMnet 0 is that 192.168.32 address space. Cool, boom. Now VMnet 1 is on the opposite side. So that's for VMnet 2's network. I'm not gonna get into that yet. The next one is 210, VMnet 2. So bring it over here. So that's this network right here. So that's the outside, the WAN side of the firewall, the LAN side of the router, the inside of the router basically. Now the back end of this router is 254, but it's under the 192.168.210 address space. Class C. This is all Class C's, by the way. So now that's VMnet 2, was it? Yeah, VMnet 2 is that 210 address space. Cool. Now we know that back end of the router is VMnet 2. We could double check team 1 router to core settings, VMnet 2, that back net. I mean the back end network is VMnet 2. So that's that 192.168.210. Now the other end of that network is .1, which is the top of the firewall, the WAN side of the firewall, the WAN, the outside of the firewall. A lot of people get WAN and LAN confused. I was one of those people. Had to learn the hard way. The WAN side of the firewall, the outside of the firewall, is 192.168.210.1. We could ping that. Cool. That's good. Great. So that means I could come from here. I could come from here to here, from the back inside to the top of the firewall, the outside of the firewall. Now let's hop onto the firewall. Let's get a shell here, and let's see if we could ping the router. 192.168.210.254. Good. Connectivity there. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you could ping one side, if you could ping from one interface to the other, you could most likely ping the same way, just reversed. Cool. That's good. That's great. Now, let's drink some water here. Now, the LAN side of the firewall. Now, this is the side. This is the inside of the firewall. Normally, in any infrastructure, any whatever, you cannot access the inside of the firewall from the outside. That's good. That's great security 101 right there. Boom. So now that back end side, the LAN side, the inside, or sometimes DMC side of the firewall is 10.10.4 Class C. Boom. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused. So these servers that sit on the inside of the firewall, right? It's behind the firewall. They're all secured. You're not touching them at all. Cool. They know nothing about you. You know nothing about them. Now, these servers' default gateway is 254. So 10.10.4 254 is these servers' default gateway. That's their way out. That's a door. So we could test connectivity to the servers. So for example, we have a 29 we have a Ubuntu DNS server right here, .53. Now we could hop onto the firewall, right, and ping 10 10 4 53. That's 43 53. Boom. We had pings. It's replying. Cool. It's there. It's alive. Now we can actually hop onto the Ubuntu DNS itself, and I'll show you the IP route. The IP. That's 10 10 4 53. We just pinged that from the firewall. Now let's see if we could ping the 10. Let's see if we could ping our default gateway. We could ping our, so we can get out. Great. Fantastic. That's one infrastructure, one network, one segment of this entire lab. So we have connectivity from the core to the router, from the router to the firewall, from the firewall to the servers, from the servers to the firewall. Let's see if we could ping from the same Ubuntu DNS that we pinged 254 from. Let's see if we could ping .1. 192.168.210.1. Great. Fun. Let's go. 254. Boom. Fun. Let's go. Now this is a major security risk, right? These servers, well, not a major security risk. It's just more of the fact that the servers know about the opposite infrastructures. Now you could fix that with firewall rules, right? So cool. Now we just pinged 210.1 WAN side of the firewall, right, from the server. So that means we're able to ping from 192.168.210.1. I mean, we're able to ping from 254 to the server itself, because we could ping .1, we could ping 254. .1 right there outside of the firewall, 254 outside of the firewall, way outside the firewall. So let's hop on our team 1 router and ping the server back. 53. Can't ping it. Why is that? Why can't we ping from here all the way to here, but we can't ping from here all the way to there? Great question, great answer. So we could ping the outside of the firewall, correct? 210.1. We could ping that all day. Our servers could ping this IP address, which sits at 192.168.210.254. So let's get the shell back over here. Could have actually done a show run. So we could ping 210.254 from the server. Why can't we not ping back in? That's just how firewalls are. So you could really get technical with firewall rules, and I'm gonna show you guys the firewall GUI rules in a bit here. But why are we allowed to come out but we can't come in? That's a question that's gonna get answered when I show the firewall configs, or the firewall rules, I should say. So by the way, these are Zebra routers, so you can install this on Ubuntu. You know, these are pfSense firewalls. You can just get the ISO from online, and these are just regular servers that you could install the ISO and download yourself. That's one team's network. Cool, great. I wonder if we could ping from here to there, because we're not supposed to, since it's a different subnet. 192.168.32 pinging 192.168.210. That just doesn't seem right. But luckily routers are smarter than me, apparently, and we're actually able to. So boom, I'm pinging outside of my subnet. That's just what routers do, and that's exactly what these IP routes are. And then if we do a IP, I believe it's show IP OSPF neighbor. We have different neighbor IDs. Our route, we just did a show run. The core's router ID is 11111. I think I said 5 ones. Well, it's 4 ones. I think I said 5. I don't know. My brain's fried. Anyways, neighbor IDs. What are neighbor IDs? The protocol OSPF, like I explained earlier, open shortest path first. Okay, cool. That is a protocol that routers use to talk to each other, to combine networks together, to basically, because normally you can't see outside your subnet. It just doesn't work without a router. It's impossible, right? So having neighbor IDs and every router using that IP OSPF area 0 on the interface itself allows every router that's using that IP OSPF area 0 on the interface. It basically allows other routers to see each other. Now, don't take that literal. It allows the core router to see all the routers, but the actual routers themselves, like if we hit a show run, area 0, boom, all day, right? Show IP, OSPF, neighbor, but we can only see the core router from team 1. But the core router could see all the teams right here, right? That's exactly how it works, and that's all team 1 router needs to know is about the core router, and the core router needs to know about everyone else. And that's how it knows who to send what to where. We can hit I believe, show IP route. These are all the IP routes that we have configured, right? Now, 2 of these will be physical, layer 1. Well, 3 of these will be physical, layer 1, which is the VM nets. So what the VM net does, it's like a Ethernet cord being plugged in, but it's virtually. So like all this wouldn't work if we're talking physical hardware stuff. All this wouldn't work if you don't have Ethernet cables, by the way. Like you need conductivity, you need link in order for this to work. If I come to settings, VMnet, and see where it says connected and it says check. If I uncheck that, hit apply, okay, that's basically me unplugging the cord. So the VMnet 0, that's that 192.168.32 space. If I just unplug myself from that, I would not see router ID 2222 because that's team 1's router. I would not see that because that sits on the 192.168.32 subnet. That's probably the simplest way I could explain it. It's VMnets. It's what plugs it in. If you hit disconnect, it disconnects them. It's like unplugging the cable. This would never work on hardware without physical cables. And the reason why it works virtually without physical cables is because we have VM nets that VMware was so kindly to bless us with. And we could set these to anything. Like we could change the IPs to literally anything. I believe you can have up to like 20 VM nets. So you could really get crazy in VMware, which is fun. So let's get back to where we were at. Let's control L this, get rid of all that. Let's hit a show run. So now 192.168.32, team 1, we got that. Now let's go to teams 2, 10.10.15. Same concept, same exact concept, just different IPs, different numbers, same thing. Everything's the same, it's just different numbers. And not even the default gateways are different. It's just the networks are different, literally. So 10.10.15 0/24 team2 oblivion.org. Let's go. Let's see if we could ping the top end of that router. 10.10.15.1. Boom. We are connected. We see each other. We're saying hi. We're both beautiful. Like whatever you want to call it. Cool. Now, that's ping the inside the inside of the router, the outside of the firewall, the WAN of the firewall, WAN, or the LAN side of the router, the back end of the router. Ping 192.168.14.25. Whoa. I'm not showing you guys that yet. Whoa, I almost leaked it. I'm not showing you yet. I'm not showing you what makes all this special things look special. So Let's ping the top end of the firewall, the outside of the firewall. Boom. So team 2 router can ping team 2 firewall. Now, same IPs, like I said. Same last octets for everything. So I just went from here to here, from here to here. Now let's see if I come from 53 again to 254 again, or the other way around. So the inside of that is 10.6.4.53. Let's not type 43 this time. Boom, up. Ubuntu DNS is there. Boom. Cool, great, fantastic. Now let's actually go to the Ubuntu DNS itself. Like I said, I could show you the IPs. I'm not tricking nobody. 10.6.53, 10.6.4.53. Just ping that. Now let's see if we can ping 10.6.4.254. Boom. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means I could come from here to here, from here to here. Let's see if I could come from here to here again. Let's see. 192.168.14.1. Yep. See if I could ping the back end of the router. Yep. So we were able to do that on both teams. Why? The firewall blocks incoming traffic. I shouldn't say block. It can block, and it also filters incoming traffic. So that's fantastic. So a bad guy sitting over here maybe cannot come down and just break in. It just doesn't work that way. However, there's a default rule on pfSense that's under the LAN side. So like I said, this is the LAN. Let's not move that. This is the LAN side, the inside of the firewall. And there's a default rule on pfSense that I'm going to show you guys in a bit that allows any LAN traffic to get anywhere. That's the reason why we could come up, but we can't come down, because as it comes down, as the packet comes down, as the data comes down, as the whatever comes down, right here is where it's like a security guard checking to see if you're old enough to enter the club or something, something like that, seeing if you're old enough, ID checking you, like, what do you have? Are you allowed? Are you malicious traffic? Are you okay? Are you good? Like, that's basically what it is. It's there to check and analyze and dissect and break up and put together and do this and do that and bake and cook and whatever. That's what the firewall does. Any incoming traffic, it stops you right here. It's literally a wall. It's a firewall, and that's why I keep water on me. Water puts out fire. But anyways, that's exactly what the firewall does. It doesn't block it. It can block, and it can also allow. So it could block, it could allow, it could reject, it could maybe, so kind of. That's what it does. So we're able to come up and through, but we can't come down and through unless we're certified, unless we have the right credentials or whatever the case may be. Actually, no, I'm going to show you guys the attack network. So this came about right here, this highlighted section. This came about like last minute. I was like, you know what? Let's just make another network, because this was non-existent a few minutes ago. I was like, you know what? We're going to add another network and just have that network dedicated for attacking. Literally, because why not? We can do it. So why not? So let's show you guys. Let's hop onto the core. So the show run. That's that 172.16.14 address space. So the top of that router is 172.16.14.1. Boom. So we come to attack network right here, Kali router. We get a show run here too, just to show you. And interface ENS33 172.16.14.1. That's what we just pinged right here. So we come back to here. Now we could come from, let me show you guys. We could come from here to here. Oh, this is a different subnet. This is actually wrong. You're gonna see some live updates right here. So I believe this is 10.1.2. Yeah, 10.1.2.254. Sorry, my bad. I literally did not catch that until now for some reason. So the default gateway, just like the firewalls, these default gateways is 254. Same thing for my Kali box server. its default gateway is .254. So let's see, and apparently it's .10. I don't know how accurate that is because I forget things. IPA 10.1.2.10. So yeah, I was right. Ping 10.1.2.254. So I'm pinging my default gateway right here. We had pings. So what does that mean? I could come from here to here. Cool, great, fantastic, great. These are all basic stuff, pinging each other's default gateways, basic. All it takes is one direct line, one connectivity, one wire, one VM net, 111. That's all it takes. Cool. With the right IPs, obviously. So boom, I could ping that. So those are 3 different networks, and the core knows about each and every last one of them. And every default gateway is working, as you can see. The firewall could ping its default gateway, the router could ping its default, so on and so on. Now let's hop back into the core router, hit a Control L, clear all that up. Now, this is where it gets really fun. Right? Normally you're not supposed to ping other subnets. Right? This is 192.168.32 subnet. Can I come from the core to the 210 subnet? So 210.254 is the first one we're going to start off with. So we're on the core. Hit a show run to show you that we're on the core. We're on the core. 192.168.32.1. Boom. We could ping the top router. Let's see if we could ping the back end of T1's router. Boom. How is that possible? Well, that's possible through routes. This is every route that the core needs to know. Maybe it's most likely some extra routes in here that the core doesn't need to know about. But anyways, as you can see, it shows us different code letters here, right? And it shows us what's directly connected into what and what's an actual route and how do you get to that route. So for example, 10.10 let's do 32. 192.168.32 is directly connected to ENS 33. Now let's test that theory. Let's hit a show run. ENS 33, boom, right there. IP address 192.168.32 subnet. So it was not lying. Show IP route again. 32.254. That's us. So 32.254 is us. The 32 subnet is directly connected into that interface. So ENS 33 knows. So anything for 192.168.32, send it out ENS 33. That's basically what it's saying. Now you could come to 210 right down here. Now this is for O. Where's O? OSPF right here, capital O, because it's lowercase. OSPF. So this is that router ID stuff. So we hit a show IP OSPF neighbor. That's all the router IDs, right? So we could hit a show run here. No, not a show run. Show IP route. Sorry about that. 210. So anything for the 210 network, 192.168.210.0/24, send it through 192.168.32.1. So that's how we're able to ping from here to here, because what OSPF is telling the router to do, anything for 192.168.210 network, send it through your default gateway sitting at .1. And that so literally the packet goes from here through here, hitting here. So the ping, the data, whatever it's going through that wire, that's the route it'll take. It won't take this because it won't eventually end up here. Open shortest path first. So why, if this is the shortest path, why will we go? It doesn't make sense, right? So it's coming from 192.168.32.254 because that's the address we're pinging from, and it's going through .1 because it's in this subnet, and that's the shortest path. 254, boom, and it hits there. Let's see if we can ping .1. Ping 192.168.210.1. Boom, same exact thing. So 210 network, send it through 32.1, which is on your ENS33. ENS33, 192.168.32 network. Boom. That's how it works. Now, let's see if we could ping from the core to the inside of the firewall. Ping not 192, actually 10.10.4.254. Network is unreachable. We don't have a route to the 10.10.4 address space, as you can see. These are all our IP routes. This is all the routes this is literally our routing table. This is all the routes that our router knows about. We don't have a route to 10.10.4.254. And even, I'm pretty sure even if we did, the firewall still wouldn't let us through if we had certain rules set up. Because that's, like I said, you could come up, but you can't come down and through. You come up and through all day with certain rules, but you can't come down and through. It's just not going to be possible. We don't have a route from the core to the inside of the firewall, which is good. You never want that. Why? What's the point of the firewall? You might as well just turn your firewall into a router and have two routers. So the core could ping all the way to the outside, the WAN side of the firewall, which is good. And I will explain why that's good in 1 second. So let's see if we could do the same thing on the opposite side. So the 10.10.15 network. Where's 10.10.15? So it's directly connected to the ENS37. As we can see, the 10.10.15 network is on interface 37. We can confirm that. Yes, thumbs up right there. Boom. Now, 10.10.15. This is a OSPF route once again. So we could actually test that out right here. It's 10.10.15.1. We could ping that. That's our direct connect. Now, can we go to 14? Do we have a route for 14? 192.168.14. Right here, OSPF. So it's telling me, so we just pinged 10.10.15.1, which is the top head of the Team 2 router. Now, the Team 2's router back end of the Team 2 back end of the router is 192.168.14. We have to write a route for that. So 192.168.14, where is it? Right here, OSPF. Anything for 192.168.14, send it through 10.10.15.1. So anything for orange, send it through green.1. Basically what it's saying. So we could hit that 192.168 ping 192.168.14.254. We could ping the back end of the router. We could ping from green to orange to a whole different subnet. That's what routers do. Now, we could ping the 254. So can we ping the firewall? We could ping the firewall. Can we ping inside the firewall? You know, we tried this earlier. We failed miserably because it's just no route there. It's nothing. We know nothing about that. So this core router, yes, it knows everything, but it doesn't know everything at the same time. It knows about this, and this. So it knows about the three routers and the 2 firewalls. Let's see if we could ping the inside of the router. So we can't ping the inside of the firewall, but can we ping the inside of the router with no firewall? Let's see. So ping 10.1.2.254. How can we ping the inside of the router, but we can't ping the inside of the firewall? Because this route doesn't have a firewall. So why can't we ping? What's blocking it? Why can't we get to the inside of the firewall, but we can get to the inside of the router with no firewall? So we hit another show IP route, and we just pinged 10.1.2.254. Let's look for 10.1.2 address space. 10.1.2 right here. Boom. 10.1.2. Anything for 10.1.2, send it through 172.16.14.1, which is connected on your ENS34. We can test that theory once again. Show run. ENS34 172.16.14. Boom. That's how routers work. And the core router needs to know about every other router in order to route traffic through other subnets. So cool. Core knows everything, but it doesn't know everything. But now, since the core knows about everyone else, can we ping from team 1 to team 2? So can we ping from 192.168.32.1 all the way to 10.10.15.1? Let's see. So let's hop on team 1's router. Set up ping 10.10.15.1. We're able to ping it. So we're able to come through up through 254, through 254, 10.10.15, 254 all the way to .1. So we were literally we're coming up through over. What allows that? So we could hit a show IP OSPF neighbor. Our neighbor is 1.1.1.1. Whose router is that? That's the core's router. Okay, so let's hit a show IP OSPF neighbor again on the core. It has 3 neighbor IDs. So it knows about 3 other routers. And one of those being 192.168.32.1, which is the router we just pinged from all the way to team 2. So it knows about that. So let's hit a show IP OSPF. What is it? What's the IP? Is it route? Boom. So we're anything 192.168.32 attached to ENS 33. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Hit a show run. Router ID 1111. Cool. Great. Now, show IP OSPF neighbor. All other routers. Let's go to team 1. Hit a show run or show IP OSPF neighbor right here. So our neighbor is 1111. That's the core. So the core is our neighbor. Cool. Great. What's our router ID? So show run. Now, this is where things get weird. In order to have a network this way, in order to have an infrastructure working this way, each router ID needs to be unique to that own router. That's why there's 4 different router IDs. Because each router ID essentially needs to know about the next router. Well, the core needs to know about all routers, and the team routers need to know about the core router. That's all. And the core handles all the routing. So we also had a show run here. Right here, this is team 1. So we're saying anything for 10.10. So the same thing on the core router. Anything for the LAN side subnets. The LAN side subnets of the routers. Send it through .1. Right? Same thing for the team routers itself. So I just pinged the 10.10.15 address space. So OSPF route right here, 10.10.15, send it through 192.168.32.254. Who is that? That's this guy right here. So anything for this subnet, send it through here. So the packet, the data, the whatever, literally comes up through the wire, over through the core, into that subnet. And that's why the core needs to know about the other routers, because if the core never knew about Teams 2 router, it wouldn't know where to send the data, where to send the packet, where to send the ping, where to send anything. It would literally be clueless. So that's why we have OSPF route. So for anything for 10.10.15, send it through the core, because it's impossible to come from here to here, just like straight through. It's no route, it's no link, it's no nothing. But there's link on the routers on the core side of the router, and this link on the team 1 and team 2 router to the core. So we already have a default gateway as 254 for team 1. The core knows about 10.10.15. So we tell team 1, we literally write this command, we add this route via OSPF, and anything for the 10.10.15 network, I want you to send it through the 254. No, not even send it through. Send it to 254. The core takes it, sees the packet, sees the ping, sees where it's trying to go, basically. And if it wants to go to 10.10.15, why will it go down to once it doesn't make sense? So it sees it coming from 192.168.32.1. It takes it and it shoots it through to the correct address space that it needs to be in. Now, this is why routers are honestly so cool and why I love chilling at layer 3, because this is all layer 3 stuff right here. Routers sit at layer 3 of the OSI model, network layer. Now, 192.168.32.1, give it to the core gives it to them. Cool. Now, anything for this is Team 1's router, anything for the LAN side of the router, of Team 2's router, is 192.168.14 address space, right? So which route will it take? Will it take the same exact route? Obviously it will. So anything for 192.168.14, send it to the same gateway. Literally the same. This will all be the same. All day. 32.254. Because the core knows everything. If I really dumb it down, Team 1's router knows nothing about Teams 2. Because if we do a show IP OSPF neighbor on Team 1, we only know about the core. We only know about 192.168.32.254. That's all we know about over at Team 1. But the core knows about every team there is. That's why it knows where to send what where. So anything for if we go over to Team 1, anything for 192.168.14, send it to 32.254. Cool. So that packet, that data, that ping is coming from here to here. That's it. That's all it does. The core takes it, and the core has a specific route for this. If you do show run, so right here, anything for 192.168.14, send it through 10.10.15.1. So it comes from here, comes up over to the core, hits the core takes it, shoots it out 10.10.15.1. This router takes it, and it takes it to the 192.168.14 address space. So it literally passes it to you, you pass it to him, he passes it to whoever's in the 192.168.14 address space. Now, the same thing for where are we at? So we could ping from here to here. Let's see if we could ping. Now that I just explained for the 14 address space, 192.168.14, it comes up 254, spits it out, gives it a 10.10.15.1, and when 10.10.15.1 gets it, it spits it out on its backside to whoever's it's trying to ping. So for example, let's see if we could ping 254. So 192.168.14.254 from Team 1. Let's test this theory. 192.168.14.254. We could ping it. Boom. So that literally comes from Team 1 to the core. Out the core to 10.10.15.1. Out from 10.10.15.1 to 192.168.14.254. Once again, Team 1 router knows nothing about him. He knows nothing about that. Team 1 router is only worried about the core. The core takes it, shoots it out the back, and now this has a default gateway to send it to. This knows who to send it to because it's for the 192.168.14 address space, which is on the LAN side of the router, 254. Boom. So we could ping that from Team 1's router. Let's see if we could ping that 192.168.14.1, which is the firewall. .1. Boom. We could ping that. Same route. Nothing's different about the route since it's on the same subnet. So it's still doing the same exact thing. It's just going to .1 this time. So it's going up to the core, outside the core, to top side of the Team 2's router, which is .1, 10.10.15.1. Outside the back end of the router, 192, we ping .1, so 192.168.14.1. And the ping, the data, the packet, the whatever lands there. So we're literally coming from Team 1. Team 1's top router to the core. Outside the core to Team 2's router. Outside Team 2's router to the Team 2's firewall. And that's how routes work, and that's how routing works, and that's how everything pretty much works. Now this works back and forth all day. I'm not trying to sit here and talk your guys' heads off. So let's get it moving. So 192.168.210.1. Let's see if we could ping from the outside of the firewall to Team 2's firewall. Let's hop on Team 1's firewall. Control L, ping 192.168.14.1. So we're literally coming from Team 1's firewall up, over, down to Team 2's firewall. Now, how does that work? Right. So we already know the default gateway for the firewall is the router, 192.168.210.254 on the WAN side, the outside of the firewall, which is the LAN side of the router. So we already know that. So any data that wants to leave and it's not for 10.10.4, it automatically knows, because it's a default gateway, a default gateway. It knows by default to send it to 254. Now let's see a route from Team 1. Let's see. So we just pinged from 192.168.210 to 2254, but the ping was meant for 192.168.14.254. So let's see. OSPF. So anything for the 192.168. So boom. The firewall takes it. I mean, the firewall sends it to its default gateway. The router takes it, and the router has a OSPF route written already for anything for 192.168.14 address space. Send it to 32.254. So the router takes it and says, "Here, core, you take it." The core has, remember the one route I showed you on the core. Anything for the 192.168.14 address space, send it to 10.10.15.1. So the core takes it, sends it over to 10.10.15.1, and 10.10.15.1 gives it to its backside, the LAN side of the router, and gives it to 192.168.14.1, because that's initially where we pinged from. And we have, so that's Team 1's route all the way to Team 2 route. A whole lot of numbers, it's a big mess. But this is what it is, and this is exactly what I do every single day, and what I love to do every single day is make complex networks and test myself, challenge myself. And this is what I do, sitting at home on my free time, and I make these things just for fun, scratch them the next day and make something better. So we could ping from Team 1's firewall all the way to Team 2's firewall. Now, obviously, if you could ping one way, you could most likely ping the other way. So let's ping from Team 2's firewall to Team 1's firewall, 210.1. Boom. Same exact thing. So the firewall has default gateway, gives it to its default gateway. Anything for 192.168.210 sends it to 10.10.15.254. And the core knows anything from 192.168.210 sends it to 32.1. 32.1 receives it, gives it out, spits it out on its LAN side, and gives it to whoever's in that subnet. Same thing works for these two right here. I put my attack box on a completely different network, because we could really sit an attack box right here, have its default gateway 254, and it'll spit through and do the same exact thing. Because, like I said, the core just needs to know about it. As long as the core knows, it's getting there. So I have a separate network, which is 10.12.10, and this network right here can hit here and hit here, which is really nice, because that's two different networks. And since these two networks are talking to each other, we can actually start doing some weird things and start pivoting through networks and different IPs and different backdoors, different gateways, different this, different that. So it's honestly pretty fun, man. And this is what I built. And so let's hop on our Kali box. So let's hop on Kali Linux. Let's type the correct password, and let's see if we could ping Team 1's outside firewall. .1. Boom. We could ping that. Now, network address translation. This is a tough one to explain. NAT, network address translation. What that does right here, all we're focused on is the firewall. This is firewall stuff right here. So, what is firewall? Layer 4? I believe it's layer 4. This firewall stuff right here. So, firewall has internal servers, inside, LAN side. Cool, great. Now, we all know the servers can go up and through, but what's the point of having servers if you can't come down and through? We don't want to make our firewall a router, so that's why we have network address translation. And what network address translation does, it takes the inside IP, so the 10.10.4.249, for example, it takes that and inside the firewall, it translates it to the outside, the WAN side IP address, to the 192.168.210 address space. So I can actually show you that config right here. Let's bring up the 10.10.4.254. So this is the inside of the firewall right here. Let's get our login. What's going on? All right. So this is pfSense. This is the firewalls stuff. This is just what it is, right? Now, what we can do here is go to NAT, network address translation. It's a 1-to-1 NAT, right? So our internal IP 10.10.4, right? Let's double check that. 10.10.4, right? 10.10.4.25249. So the internal IP of the server, so 10.10.4.249. External IP, so the outside, the WAN side of the firewall. So it takes this server right here, 249, and it spits it out on this end, but as 192.168.210.249. Now you can make it any IP. I like keeping the last octet. That way, it's more organized. The server 249 last octet on the inside is going to be the same thing on the outside. So that's just what I like to do it. You can make this 210.5. It doesn't matter what you make it. So network address translation, so it's translating the address from 10.10.4.249 to 192.168.210.249. Now, we could hit the 192.168.210 address space from our Kali Linux box, right? Because we ping .1. Why can't we ping .254? Why can't we ping the natted IP address? So this IP gets flipped over to this. Why can't we hit that from our Kali box? But we can. So ping 192.168.1, 210.1. Boom. That's the outside. That's the WAN side of the firewall. Great. 254. That's the LAN side of the router. Great. Of team 1. This is team 1 right here. Now 249. We could ping it. So something's there. What's there? The same server that's here. It's the same exact server. It's just natted over to this address space. So we can't ping the 10.10.4.249, right? Let's see. 10.10.4.249. We can't ping it. It's not there. It's no route there. We cannot ping it. So network address translation, it translates the internal servers to the outside IP address. So 192.168.210.249. We could ping that. Let's actually go. It's an Apache web page. So let's hit an Nmap scan on it. Why not? So Nmap, it's a type of scan that pretty much scans. You can make it scan a single host or an entire network, and anything on that, it hits it with a ping sweep. So it comes through on the wire. Like if you look at Wireshark as you do an Nmap scan, it comes through and hits it through everything with a ping. And anything with a ping that responds back with a ping, we got a response there because it's there, 249. So let's Nmap scan it. So we know it's alive. Let's Nmap scan it. And what Nmap scanning would do, it would pretty much make a scan report and show me all the open ports, all the the states that it's in right here. Port 22, we know that's SSH. Port 80, we know that's HTTP. And if it was port 53 open, it would have been DNS. If it was 443 open, it would have been HTTPS. And so the port number matches the actual service it's running. So we have 2 ports open. So it ran through and it scanned over 1,000 ports, and out of 1,000, I believe it says right here, 998 closed TCP ports. So it's only 2 open. So it scanned 1,000 ports, and these are the only 2 ports that are open on 249. Now we know HTTP. We know that's a web page. We know that's a protocol for websites, right? So why not search out 192.168.210.249? Team Cyber. That's the same exact team. So this is what I made, man, and this surprisingly this took me 3 days, but in reality it could have took me only like 1. Sorry about that. Just got a quick phone call. So honestly forgot where we were at, but I was explaining this is what I made. So yeah, this is pretty much what I made, and it took me 3 days. Could have took me, honestly, I think I could have done this in like 2, maybe 1 day. It only took me 3 days because I had the funniest thing, and I showed you guys this server first. Like I showed you the 249 first, the Ubuntu, the Apache webpage first, because this one was the one that gave me the most trouble. This was the first server I made and put behind the firewall itself, and every time I tried pinging the netted IP, I wouldn't get a response, but I was able to ping it from the firewall. So what is it's like? So I was telling myself, like, what could that mean? Like, if I could ping it from the firewall, that means it's natted, right? Because I'm pinging 192.168.210.249. I'm pinging that, and I'm getting replies from the firewall. But any other device I try pinging it from, I can't, or I couldn't. And that's what gave me the most trouble, the biggest trouble. It was the most annoying thing, man. And it's so funny because the reason behind that is because I didn't believe show IP route or IP route show. Yeah, IP route show. I didn't have a default route, so I had no default route, and so this default via 10.10.4.249.254. It's a gateway to the firewall. So it was getting hit with pings, but it didn't know how to reply because it had nowhere to send it to. And that's why always check your gateways. Always literally start at the basics. Start from layer 1. Is it connected? So this is what I built, and I'm really satisfied with what I made, because now I have an environment where I could, everything's all air gapped off the internet, all host only. So I have my own environment that I could play in, and I actually got DNS working. So I got the Windows 2019 Active Directory server. That's the primary DNS .11, and then .53. I got DNS working on both, and as you can see, I made web pages for both teams. So that's welcome to Team Xyber, the Shadows. The ChatGPT made this. Also, I don't know if I forgot to mention, but I built this with the minimal amount of AI possible. I wasn't going, any problem I had, I didn't go straight to AI for it. And half of the problems that I had, like, honestly, only one problem that I had, I went to AI for, and that was for the OSPF area 0 on the actual interface itself. I didn't know it had to be on the actual interface itself. Like I said, I just had it in the config on the router OSPF. But area 0, what basically is what telling each interface to connect to what interface, basically. But yeah, this is what I built, and obviously ChatGPT made this, so I didn't do this. I had AI do all this stuff. So welcome to Team Cyber, Shadows of Cyber Warfare. We live in Cali, but we're not talking about the state. Cali Linux. We strike from the dark, silent, precise, and undetectable. Our enemies remain clueless until it's too late. And we have the same thing for 192.168.14. I have both servers natted, but this one's 251. That's 51. Let's go to 251 right here. Boom. It's Team Oblivion. Obviously, Oblivion, clueless. You know. So we're defending, right? The firewall's up, I think. Wait, where do our logs go? Is this an attack or just a glitch? Well, it's fun, and these two are both sitting on Apache servers. I didn't have a DNS cut through the firewall yet, so I don't think I can. I can't just hit a www.xyber.org. Yeah, nah. So we could go to the Active Directory server itself. Should be a Google page on here. So this is for Team 1. Yep. Google page right here. So we hit www.xyber.org. And it leads us to that. And that's what DNS does. So we come to tools, we come to DNS, xyber.org, www. It points to 10.10.4.249. So anytime we search up www, our domain name is xyber.org. So www.xyber.org. So the host name, www, and then Xyber, the domain name, .org. We have that. So Team Xyber. And then we come to the AD server on Team 2. And do the same exact thing. www.oblivion.org. Boom. And I can show you the DNS config. www 10.6.4.251. We have zone transfers for Ubuntu DNS, Team 2. So we can come up to dig oblivion.org. Boom, zone transfer. So that's the Windows AD server. That's us right here on the Ubuntu DNS. And then www.oblivion.org. So basically what this is, I made a secondary DNS server, and I believe I had the web page itself. So I don't think we could do it if config, can we? Yeah, we can't. So let's just look at the file itself. So our DNS service is 10.6.4.11, 10.6.4.53. Secondary is the Ubuntu DNS, obviously sitting at 53, 10.6.4.53. So what that does is, if this AD server is down, or is like having malfunctions or whatever, the Ubuntu DNS could kick in, and it knows all the zones that the actual AD server has. So anything you want to look up via domain name, Ubuntu's there to save us. Ubuntu DNS, and I have the same thing set up for Team 1. Xyber.org. Boom. That's the Windows. Xyber.org 10.10.4.249. And yeah, this is what I've made. This is what I did. And insanely proud of it. We could ping actually ping www.xyber.org. That's the IP address behind xyber.org. www.xyber.org. So this is what I made, man, and this was honestly a very fun project, and I'm proud of the work that I've done. Proud of it. So show you the nmap scans on both teams, obviously, so I could hit the entire subnet. 210.0/24 is Team 1's outside firewall subnet to see what servers are natted, if any. Let's see. Then we can also do the same thing for Team So 192.168.14. 14.0/24. This came back. So we got .1. So that's the firewall itself. 249. That's the server we just showed. 254. That is the router. Team 1's router. So we got 3 hosts up. And so far just SSH open. 2 for this one. Oh yeah, I natted this the AD server on Team 2. So the Team 2 AD server is actually natted 192.168.14. You know, that network address translation. So I kept the last octet the same, and it's just taking 10.64.11 to 192.168.14.11. That's all NAT is doing. That's it. And the firewall rules. This is Team 1's firewall rules right here. So IP any. We honestly don't even need this. And IP ping any. Honestly, any would do. But the LAN side. So the reason why we were able to ping from the servers all the way through is because the default rule that pfSense has is default allow LAN to any. So basically what that means is anything on the LAN net, anything on the inside of the firewall, it can reach anything. The destination, any destination. Now obviously you could reject this rule, block this rule, but yeah. The rules for the WAN side, let's look at those. So IP any right here. So from any source to any destination. And that's how, we can obviously tighten this up. So we can come like to here, protocol TCP, destination port range. We just allow port 80 open, and that's it. But yeah, this was high. This was really fun to make. Let me show you all the routes. So well, not the routes, the default gateway. So another problem that I had was if I go on the WAN side right here, the IP upstream default gateway or IP upstream gateway, it was set to none. So I had to actually add the default gateway. So anything so the reason why the ping from 192.168.210.1 works all the way through here is because it knows to send it to this default gateway. That's the only thing I had to change, because this router knows anything for 192.168.14, send it to 2.254, anything from, they already know. So the firewall actually didn't know who to send it to at first. So I had to make it an actual gateway for itself and point it to that gateway. But it wasn't that many problems that I really ran into. Like I said, AI did all the coding and stuff. Not really coding, but the HTML stuff for the web pages themselves. And yeah, the only thing I have to do is cut DNS through, and it'll be pretty cool to have, like, www.xyber.org being hit from Calibox, or that'll be pretty cool. But this is the network, and this is what I spent my weekend working on, and this was really fun. I mean, to literally go from 6 months ago, started this class that I'm taking now 6 months ago, and in August, started in late August, not even 6 months ago. So to start from barely even 6 months ago to building networks like these, like I mean, this takes a lot. This isn't just plug and play, and I can officially say that I made a multi-network, all point to a core, and have every team talk to each other. I mean, literally, like the Calibox could reach the outside of the firewalls. The outside of the firewalls could jump from team to team, and it's honestly crazy. It's really crazy, man. Literally, I go from orange to pink, from pink to orange, from brown to orange, from brown to pink, from pink to orange. I mean, from pink to brown, from orange to brown, from purple to orange, like from green to pink. It's honestly crazy. But this is what I made, Xyber versus Oblivion. And we've seen the web pages. You know, that's probably my favorite part out of all of them, not gonna lie. It's the web pages. Web page is pretty neat, not gonna lie. Like this is pretty cool. You know. But yeah, this is what I made. This is my home lab. This is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 resources. 13 servers basically. But yeah, this is what I've made, and you already saw the config on the core. That's the core config. And OSPF. Hey man, I love routers.